Hey everybody, Devon here. Today we're going to be checking out Theo Vaughn talking to Joe Rogan about his interaction with pornography and what it's done to his relationships with women. Interesting stuff. I love, hearing sometimes honest opinions from people who don't share my belief system, because you get an awful lot of overlap experientially, certainly from these folks. And he's pretty darn honest. And what I love about it is that he exists outside of my moral scope. So he's reflecting on really pragmatic realities involved with pornography. Let's check this out here.
Something, and so I think it like weakens my ability to like be able to have sex and like be comfortable in that sort of world. And
Really?
Oh yeah.
Weakens your ability to be comfortable. Like, how so?
Well, because I get used to watching the sex and seeing it and not having to like be engaged with my actual feelings or anything. So then I see it and I still get all the joys out of it. I'm still out there e-jacking and spraying out natural.
Spraying.
But I don't have any of the feelings attached to it. So then when I am engaging with somebody that I care about or something, it just doesn't calculate for me emotionally as well.
You guys see that? Oh my gosh, that's so perfect. It's so true. Pornography distances us from people in a very real way, man. That's amazing. So a couple comments about this. The first thing that he brings up that I think we all need to take note of is that pornography, it disquiets you. It makes you generally disturbed, uncomfortable. It's interesting because I've had a lot of interactions with people who go from being pornography users to being not pornography users. And in the midst of that, they go through this time period where they think that porn isn't really bothering them that much. And then they get rid of it and they find out that it was totally destabilizing them for like a long time. And that it was really messing with them. And it lives in such secrecy that people that are actively consuming it can really convince themselves that it's not disquieting the rest of their life. And I think that has something to do most of the time with the concept of addiction, with the concept of how we're solving our problems in real time. It's like because porn is solving certain problems, even though it's creating others, we've learned to live with the that normal posture, but the give and take of that, the reality that I am solving some things with it offsets the fact that it's disturbing. And that disturbance is rarely considered, really rarely looked into, rarely brought to the surface long enough to really be dealt with, particularly since pornography kind of dials down the intimacy levels, or I should say our desire for intimacy almost. It numbs us out so that intimacy seems less important to us until those moments come that are truly horrible and terrible, where there are these flare-ups of emotion that you can't really deny. And in those moments, you feel this sense of deep longing, and often people don't even know for what. And the truth is, most of the time, it's for intimacy, a real intimacy, one that isn't transactional and one that isn't, you're not paying anybody off, you're not playing somebody's role or being a game. It's not a game anymore, it's the real thing. And that kind of intimacy has a whole nother level of fulfillment that pornography could never achieve. And so I love that he talks about this like disquieting element of the lack of comfort that comes along with just viewing pornography. And then the other part that I think is so powerful is that he does recognize that when he's with a person, there's a connection to the emotions that you just don't have with pornography. And I think that a lot of people that even support pornography or like might make a moral case for pornography would agree with this. They'd say that it's different than real sex. I even had someone comment on my channel not too long ago that like pornography is not sex for the person. Now we could talk about that. Let's go on that rabbit trail for a second real quick. The reason why, obviously pornography is sexual, right? Obviously it's speaking to that part of us. But the brain doesn't know the difference between participating in the act when it's viewing it on the screen and participating in the act in real time. Now there are differences, like the body learns it differently, your mind creates different pathways to it, and that sort of thing. But the same wiring, the same areas of the mind are firing and getting connected to it. So while I would agree that sex with a person, person to person, is different than pornography, I would also say that pornography in that way is usurping that person-to-person sex. And that's what Theo is talking about here. He's talking about an inability to connect with his emotions with that person because he's learned that that sexual interaction does not require emotions, right? And so, interestingly enough, a man will accept a almost bland, a dead form of relationship instead of getting the edifying intimacy that he needs, even in real relationship, if he's got a past in pornography. And there are so many outcroppings that could take, which we could talk about. I'll just mention one, which is that a man is too afraid to then access that intimacy. It kind of depends on when he started interacting with porn and that sort of thing. Certainly my story with my interaction with porn starting really young, we don't really have an innate understanding then, or rather the innate understanding is pushed out of how to connect with people. And so when it comes to connecting with a real person, you just feel lost. You feel like you have no, like, what do you do with your hands? You don't know what to do with this person, and you don't know what it means to have real emotions, or give those real emotions and receive real emotions from somebody. No. Instead, you lay a template of pornography over it, where you're almost viewing yourself have these behaviors with the other person, or on another level, maybe just giving over to your body, right? Giving over to, I'll call it, your passions, your flesh, your body in the act of sexuality, so that your mind is almost not even present. How is intimacy to exist in that kind of reality? Anyway, thank you, Theo, for your honesty. I really, I was impressed. I really appreciate your honest reflection on that, and blessings on you, man, as you keep away from pornography, for sure. Hey, if you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe and all that. If I earned your subscribe there, and I hope to see you again. And don't forget, you are loved.